Welcome to Illuminating Future. Today we are going to make a freestyle talk where, I'm not going to have a speech written, so I'm just going to be trying to explain what I think without any written help. So first we have to talk about globalization. The new speech that Secretary of Foreign Affairs Marco Rubio gave at the Munich conference. It marks a moment where we have a glimpse of the pathway that the big powers are engaged in. This is a new generational script. It opened the doors towards the pathway for 2050. It marks the obliteration of the United Nations and also creates the new paradigm in which the global powers are closing by hemisphere, how America is gonna be the leader of the American continent, North America is gonna be the protector, the shepherd. So I'm doing these sort of videos because I want to show that I'm a total amateur. I am not an agent, I'm not AI, and I am not an influencer to influence you. In fact, I'm here to influence me, to better myself, and to explain my thoughts on many different things. So making videos is sort of my hobby, my sort of expression for a need to create. Every person with a innate desperation to create ends up creating. So that's the reason for which I'm making the videos. But also I've seen many AIs, many companies. It's like a person with $1 million buys a bunch of computers and makes a channel, and then those channels become famous rather quickly, and everybody follows them like sheep, while the lone wolves like me, poor people, just trying to make it work, we advance step by step, and it's more complex. Because if you really pay attention, most channels have like a script already written. And yeah, some of them use the same voice. People just write things or use AI. There is a channel that the guy talks and then he sells AI courses, how to study and all of that. And all of his information comes from an AI. So I'm not surprised if he has to read everything and then just to talk by remembering. And that's a problem. And those channels have 200, 300,000 or 500,000 or 500,000 because those companies have the budget in order to reach a big amount of people. But the little people, the lone soldier are the ones at the top of the spear, because we are the ones with the true creativity. We are the ones with the real push forward. We don't use the money, which is the best tool ever. We just use the brain and our need to create. And anyways, this is about geopolitics. This is about Marco Rubio giving a speech to the the European leaders. I was looking at it and I could only recognize Vucic from Serbia, the president of Serbia. And I was looking at it and there was a woman that I remember from years ago. I think her name is Laura Spectre from Sweden. She was very famous 10 years ago. I think that I saw her there. I don't want to make a video about it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure those are the only two people that I recognize among the European leaders. The response among European leaders was 50-50. Some of them were really happy with the situation, and some of them weren't, obviously, because they are already too engaged in the past system of control. And now Marco Rubio is giving the new system of control. I predict a lot of chaos in Europe due to extreme views are gonna be fueled. And the people receiving those extreme views are gonna react, and both sides are gonna engage in violence. One of them, the losing side, is gonna engage in terrorism, because the losing side always engage in terrorism because they are losing and they don't have any other option. The winning side is gonna engage in authoritarianism because they are the winners and they have the power and the forces to quench any uprising. So with this, I am seeing a resurgence of the transatlantic North American pride, and by transatlantic I mean people with European descent in America, North America. And by that I also mean Mexicans, because if we pay attention, the Gulf of America, which was before the Gulf of Mexico, now by default being called the Gulf of America, it means that the Mexicans are also Americans. I mean, there is no way around it. That's the purpose. If the North American region is gonna be a single region of control and power, and the South America is gonna be another region of control and power, because for globalization we need, before globalization, the prophecy says that we need to create regions of control more manageable, because the United Nations already proved that it cannot do much because it doesn't have the tools yet. So the United Nations is being put in the drawer of waiting because there is no its moment. It's just gonna be waiting there for 25 years until the time is set for the foundations are set, because we need to create regions of control, and those regions of control are going to be the foundations for the new, for the global order. But the global order is not going to happen until 2075, I believe, and by 2000 is when white baby Jesus will be back. That's the prophecy, the way I see it, because I have been studying many things, and I have been studying the Jesuit prophecies. So, yeah. And let's see what else. Palantir. Palantir is not. Palantir is a forefront. Palantir is the actor, just like presidents are actors. If we see the 2025 mandate, which is a mandate, we see all the guidelines to follow for these next years, and everything is written there. It says how the army, the navy, the real leader of America, they put certain agents for them to be leaders of the moment. I remember in 2012, 2013, 2014, I still hear it, but there is a show called Myth Rats. Myth Rats, it's a podcast from the United States Navy, and I remember a general being upset, and somebody asked him why there was so much mafia and so much bad things happening against America, and he said that he knew who were they, and by they mean out of hemisphere powers, and out of hemisphere powers, namely China and Russia. It's not going to be Bangladesh or Bhutan. Those, and they knew. So by paying attention, we can see how the chess pieces were moved, and to the point where China and Russia are obliterated. All the power was taken from China. Well, they have money. They have bonds. They have gold, and they have plenty of people brainwashed into thinking they are one, and that's their advantage. But they lost their power of economic power to maintain such growth. Russia is more like a place where the leaders do what they want, and the people have to sucker it. There is no other way to say it. The Russian people is like are hostages because life is hard and they have to sucker it. That's how the Russians see it. The Russian mind is extremely hard, and they only care about survival because that's what Russia is. It's a nation of survivals. I expect a return from the East Siberia Slavs. I expect a return towards East Europe because Russia is going to lose Siberia to the Asian population, to the Han and other tribes over there. So either if they don't want to be assimilated into the Asian culture, they have to return west. The Slavic people living in Siberia have to return west. So this is what I'm saying. It's a call for them to return to their motherland. That many of them were criminals and or workers that went to build cities in the 70s, or criminals from the 1920s, 1930s when the Bolsheviks were sending them as punishment. So Russia is gone already. It's just that they don't want to accept it. That's why there is going to be the new region of power in that area. Is going to be West Russia and East Europe. I expected it to be one region of control and power, but that's going to be until 2050. The other region of power is going to be West Europe. I am not sure about Africa. Before I was sure that it was going to be at least North Africa united with West Europe. Now I see it more like a Mediterranean culture is gonna flourish. That's why the destruction of the Middle East, the decades of war, and now there is gonna be a time when they only gonna grow. That is gonna happen at least in the next few years, where once the peace is achieved, it's gonna be a resurgence of growth. Once all the bad influence is cut and the new plan will be to grow, then we will see a resurgence of the Mediterranean culture, the Mediterranean race, from which is Iberia, France, Italy, Libya, all of the what it was the Roman Imperium. That's what is gonna be. South America is gonna be a whole region of power, advised by the North American region of power. That's why I believe that Mexicans are gonna be absorbed into the North American region. The only yeah, that's the reason for which the Gulf of Mexico now is called Gulf of America, because at one point Mexicans and and Americans are gonna be blended into a North American culture. It's bound to happen because we are witnessing the death of countries. Countries are dying, and what is being born are regions of power. After the regions of power, then we can talk about globalization for real, because then we will be a step closer to the stars. Not maybe, because that's gonna take another 100 years. But yeah, what else? What else? Well, that's it. I need to edit the video and stop all the lagging, and and I'm grateful that I am being able to make a video like this. I'm losing the stiffness in my words. The things that I don't speak much with anybody. I'm like a hermit, and in 25 years, I mostly speak English with my cat, my dog, or my cat, and none of them answer back. So it's all the same. Um, but I'm grateful that you guys are hearing this. I'm grateful that I'm able to do it, and I want to appreciate you for listening to me. We only have 30 subscribers, and I suspect that all of you guys, most of you, are random people that I found at the 7-Eleven, and I share my channel with you guys because that's the reality. I have been sharing my channel with random strangers on the 7-Eleven, and they subscribe. So yeah, thank you, and we will see next time. Bye.